Nice. You keep that key, Stuart. I'll just.
I don't think I could do that. It sounds like an extreme workout.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
what would y'all do if y'all were a ghost?
If I was a ghost,
Yeah, like if y'all were
I'd be
a ghost.
fucking with people.
He's got the resolution down.
You're explaining Bigfoot to me like he's a Pokemon.
This is what
He
happens.
hasn't,
Probably is.
hasn't been caught yet, so.
Right.
This sounds fucking stupid.
All right. Nice new intro, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of a cool new thing, I guess. I learned how to do it this morning. I just sat there creating it. That's all that shit I'm trying to figure out how to do so I can do my job a little better.
That's right.
Well, I am Brother Zachary Ellis.
And I am, Stiegel, Nicholas Stiegel.
And I have reemerged from my slumber in my foreskin. Hooded
And I-
warrior.
I'm Sleepy Malone.
Nice. You reemerged, huh?
Yeah, man. It was nice and
Yeah.
warm in there.
Now I'm not the only one with the mustache. One of these days, Stiegel will have a mustache too.
Yeah, I'm working on mine. You guys can see it at 5 o'clock.
No.
It's coming in.
Your hair's too light.
Yeah, that's true. It's blonde.
Well, I guess today we're starting this one off with I titled it "Growing Up with the Bastards." So it's just like
Oh,
childhood
okay.
stories, stuff like that. Hopefully they're funny enough to laugh at. I know Rod's got a bunch of childhood stories, some funny ones.
Yeah, I feel like people will get to know what we were as kids to lead us to being these degenerates as grown-ups.
Mhm.
But did you guys
So,
get in trouble?
I think it's a
lot,
good
though?
thing. Yeah, I think I got in fair enough trouble. Like growing up here in the States and then in South America, it's two different worlds, and I don't know. I guess in both places I got in good trouble. Good trouble. I know you got fucking arrested.
Yes, I did. I got arrested, but I was around 18 at the time, so
You're still a kid at 18.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. My mom was pissed at me for that. And the stupid thing. So, working at the store, and I'm fucking giving discounts to all friends and whatever, and people, customers that were nice and all that. There's a lot of dick customers, and so I just give a huge discount, like abnormally huge. Like it would be down to like under 10 cents.
Where were you working?
I don't even think they're around anymore. It's called Mervin's. It was a retail store with like shirts, clothing and shoes and stuff like that.
Like at Kmart?
No, it's kind of like a JC Penney.
Oh shit, yeah. Mervin's. There was one where I grew up, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of like a JC Penney or fucking Dillard's or something.
Yeah. And so as I was working there, I worked in like the shoe department mostly, and people would come over there, and friends and stuff would come to me, and then I would just fucking discount. And eventually, like, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could put some money on a gift card too. And so I transferred money onto a gift card. I didn't use them. I had them in my wallet. And then I guess they saw me on camera and stuff doing that. And they come into work one day and they're like, hey, come with me. And so I go into this like back room, and they're talking to me about how discounts are not authorized, that it's a form of theft. I'm like, oh, all right. And then they bring up the gift cards, and I was like, fuck. And-
They found it.
They got you.
yeah. And so they're like, yeah, this is pretty bad. We have a cop on the way. And I'm
What?
like, okay. Yeah, it was a lot.
Because
And
of discounts?
yeah. And so plus the gift cards. And so the cop comes, and he was talking to me for like a second. He puts me in handcuffs, and he's like, I'm going to take you through the back so no one can see you. And I was like, all right. And so he takes me through the back, and I get into the cop car, and he just drives off into the parking lot and just sits there. And he's like, we're waiting for my chief to come. And so I'm like, all right. He's just BSing with me, just talking to me, telling me, he's like, yeah, he's like, I don't think you're a bad kid. You probably just made a mistake. And I was like, all right, thanks. And then the chief comes, and he's talking to me. He's all, for how much you steal like a pack of gum. That's a felony. And I was like, that's it? I had to like steal just a little bit more and it'd be a felony. And he's just like, yeah, he's all, you're lucky that you didn't steal more than what you did. And so then after he talked to me, he took me to jail. And so they take me in, they do the whole frisking thing and all that. They grab your junk. And so they handcuff me to this like pole that's on the seat as you come in. And there's this dude that was sitting to the left of me. I think he was either on drugs or he's like just really drunk. And I'm just watching this dude, and he's kind of like falling all over the place. And as his hands are handcuffed to his back, he's falling off. Oh, we lost Rod. Should I wait to explain it until he gets back on?
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
Hopefully not. Did you guys not get in trouble a lot? I know, Malone, you said you were like a...
Yeah, I was pretty squared away. I didn't really do much. Went to school, played with my friends, and that was about it.
Yeah, same. I was a goody. I did some dumb stuff, but never got arrested. Never even got pulled over. No dealing with the cops. Just really, really dumb stuff.
You've never been pulled over?
I've been pulled over once.
Okay, I've been pulled over, but it's like, I don't know. It was a really weird situation. He just pulled me over. I think he was looking for a vehicle, and he was pulling over all these vehicles that matched like a description or something, because he literally pulled me over, looked at all my stuff, and then let me go. So it was like really weird.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with me. Like when I used to work at the movie theater, every like time we'd have like a there he is. Now I'm on the left side. All right. Yeah, so every time there we go.
Spit on me, Daddy.
So every time we'd have a staff meeting, it would be at like 10 o'clock at night, and then we would all go into like IHOP, and probably end up around like 3 o'clock in the morning that we'd get out of there. And I was on the college campus, and I made a U-turn where it said you can't make a U-turn, and it pulled me over. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm going to like lose my license because I'd never been pulled over before. I was like, fuck. And the guy pulled me over, and the entire interaction was probably like 45 seconds. I gave him my license. He went back. He didn't even need my registration or anything. And he's like, all right, you're good to go. He made a U-turn. Just don't do it again. Bye.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have never been pulled over since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, back to my story, since Rod decided to fucking leave.
Yeah.
Middle of it. Jerk. So anyways, this guy, he's handcuffed to the seat, and he's falling off the seat at the same time, and his handcuffs are, and his hands are handcuffed to the bar, and his pants start to fall down, and his dick comes out and everything. I'm just like sitting there just staring at this dude. I'm like, holy fuck. And he just starts pissing all over the place. Just like a fucking
Oh my God.
like a fire hose. And so then the cops come and they get him and they pull his pants up and all that shit. And then finally they take me and they put me in this like bullpen type thing. And that's where I can like call somebody. And so I find out that, well, first of all, I called my mom, and she was pissed at me, and she wanted me to stay in there. She's like, you can stay in there. She's like yelling at me. And then I call my grandma. My grandma comes in, and she's like, I'll be there to get you. And so they call me up, you know, they do all this stuff, check for tattoos and shit like that. I didn't have any tattoos at the time. And then I had to go in like this other room, like this glass cell area, and they had to do my fingerprints and stuff like that. And my mug shot where I look like a fucking hooligan.
You look like a skinhead in the fucking
too, because my hair is so fucking short. And so then I'm sitting there in this room with this kid, and this kid, he's been in and out, and he's all, "What'd you do?" And so I told him, and he's all, "You'll be out. You're good." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And then my grandma comes in and picks me up and all that, and it comes to find out, like, because my mom was in charge of like this youth group at church, that one of my friends went in front of everybody while she was there with a bunch of people from church and was like, "Zach's in jail." And so that all fucking started. And then I had to fucking go to court, and I had to do I had to pay restitution, and then I had to do community service, which by myself I cleaned a whole church parking lot, like sweeping the whole thing. And yeah, that was a stupid experience. Never
Were
done
you
it
a
again.
Mormon? Were you a Mormon
Yeah.
at the time?
Yeah.
Did you feel like repent? Repent?
No. No.
Were you whipping yourself on your back and shit? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, Jesus.
7 Hail Joseph Smiths. Just whipping myself.
I don't think Zach, you've never been like a full on like devoted Mormon, right? You're just kind of like,
No,
I'm here.
he was.
At some
Come on,
point
Zach.
I was kind of, but I was never like a hardcore, like to the T, like Mormon. Like, I think the way my mom raised us is we didn't really like, my mom is a really hardcore Mormon, I guess. She goes to church every Sunday and stuff. I hated doing all that stuff. So I wasn't like fucking to the T, like a perfect Mormon.
yeah.
At some points I was like a decent one, you know, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Not
I saw two
drinking,
Mormons.
all that.
I saw two Mormons at the park the other day. They were making out.
Did they have their white shirts on? And
Yeah, they
like,
did and
hey,
everything. Their bikes are right there. They put their chain on their bikes. They took their helmets off and just started kissing.
That sounds like a good time.
It's like, what's your name? Dan Smith.
Dan Smith, BYU.
I think I'm trying to think. I think I have had situations where like I had to talk to cops. Every time that I get pulled over or I've gotten pulled over is stupid. Like I got one ticket in my life about window tint and stuff. But when I was living in Colombia, I was in 10th grade, and the cops are like very, very militarized over there. Like you think they're militarized over here, like over there, they don't have like city cops. They just have national police. So,
Damn.
and they wear green and they look like they're in the fucking army. It's fucking crazy. But they would go to the schools that had a lot of like troubled kids that would throw rocks at people, or so, you know, it's just schools that were rough. And they would go to the classes of the higher grades and just pretty much search through all your wallets and your bags and just be like, and just talk shit to you the whole fucking time. And like I remember when they went in there in my class and they took my wallet. Inside my wallet, I had a bunch of, I would save my soccer game tickets, right? And because they were nice, they're like made out of like this fabric or whatever. They were nice like tickets. They're not just paper tickets that you go to a regular show or whatever. And he saw that I had them all in there. I had like about 20 of them. And he's like, "Oh, you're part of that fucking group that goes to the soccer games. It's always starting trouble, huh?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Nah, you're a fucking hooligan, aren't you, motherfucker?" Like he's just talking shit to me. And I had a crazy haircut too, like with a mohawk and a rat tail and stuff like that. I looked like a fucking
You would.
yeah, like
disgusting.
No, it was fucking great. You shut your whore mouth. I love that fucking haircut.
Mohawk and a rat tail.
Yo.
That was about as good as Janko jeans.
It was like it
Yeah.
wasn't a mohawk. It was like a faux hawk, more of a faux hawk. It was
I
like
had one of
it
those.
wasn't like shaved on the sides or anything, but I would
my
do the little mohawk thing. Typically, you could tell who was you could tell a lot by your haircut over there. It's weird. If you have like a normal haircut like we have, you're a normal dude. But if you have like a rat tail and you spike your hair up or something, people instantly think, "Oh, this guy's fucking trouble." Like this
Oh,
guy's
wow.
like, they're very, very stereotypical over there by the way you look. But I wasn't a bad kid. Like I would get in trouble every now and again. Nothing crazy, but he was just talking shit to me. He's like, "Hey, look at your fucking hair," like because my shit went down like it's like to my shoulders almost, my rat tail. And he was like, "You part of that fucking group? I'm gonna come back here next week, and you better have a nice haircut." And he's just sitting there just talking shit to me, and then he just gives me my shit back and leaves. And I'm like, "What the fuck?
Wow.
Like, don't you got anything better to do than pick on a fucking
Kid
15-year-old?"
Better come back with a better haircut.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, growing up over there was way different. Even here, I would do stupid shit, man. I hung out with the wrong crowd, I think, because in elementary school, I would get nothing but A's and make the honor roll every fucking quarter, and I was just straight. Then I got to middle school, and all went downhill.
I feel like that's where it usually goes downhill is when you get into the 7th whatever grade.
Yeah, because goddamn. Because do you guys got any Stiegel? You got any stories?
Yeah, I got a few. They're really dumb. I almost don't want to say them. But I mean, we lived out in the sticks, right? So we lived down like a road that it was just like it was asphalt, but it wasn't even painted, and it went down a long ways. So like, and then we turned onto a gravel road, and we had some neighbors, but everybody knew each other. And I'd have friends that came over and that like I don't know why, but I wanted to like show off and like be cool and stuff. So like I knew this one neighbor that had like a chicken coop and I knew how to get into it. So we got like eggs and then like I feel so bad now talking about it, but we would egg the person's house that we got the eggs from. And like, oh, dude, because I used to see it on TV, people egging houses, people ding dong ditching. It's really hard to ding dong ditch when houses are like, a half a mile apart out in the country. It's like really stupid. I used to always like wash my parents' car because that was my way that I could like get their keys and maybe like be cool and drive around the our driveway or something. But this one time I was feeling crazy. I was feeling like a madman. So I like washed my mom's car, got the keys, and then I like, dude, let me see how far I can get. And I was like 10 at the time, and I went down the dirt road, and I kept going, and you could drive out there pretty far without like, because like we're so far out there that there's no cops nearby, but there are neighbors. So I got called on by my neighbor, and all she did was call my mom, and my mom got home and really gave it to me. But
She must have just been like looking out her window, looking for
Yeah.
some trouble.
yeah,
Lady.
I don't know what
Exactly.
you mean, Stiegel. Those are great stories.
yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, those are good ones.
You can actually get away with a lot out in the sticks because like speeding, just driving, doing whatever, because like there's no cops that are gonna come out this far. So the kids would throw a bunch of bonfires and everything, but I never went to those. I wasn't that type of way.
Oh, because you're a good kid.
I was.
Yeah, I think. Try to give you a story about in New Orleans. So New Orleans is weird. So I grew up in cities, both in America and in Colombia. There were big cities. So I remember that it's weird. People in New Orleans aren't really racist. Like locals and stuff. There's blacks and whites and everything. Everybody just is cool with each other. I think they're more racist toward brown people, if anything, honestly. But I remember this. I'm riding my bike outside my house, right? And then this black kid comes from like around the corner, and he's like, "What's up, son?" Like, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And I'm like 8 or 9, maybe. And then he's like, "Oh, that's a nice bike." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it like 4 years ago." He's like, I wasn't saying much to him because I didn't know him. And he's like, "What, you don't want to talk to me because I'm black?" And I'm like, "No, man, no, like it's not like that." Like, he's like, "Okay." And then a few weeks later, he comes back and he's like, "Hey, man, can I borrow your bike?" And I'm like, "No, you can't borrow my bike. I don't even know your name, bro. Like, the fuck?" Then he stole my bike probably like a month later.
Wow.
I didn't really care because I asked for a bigger one that Christmas, so my parents were going to give me another one. But it was just funny because he was just like, "What, you don't want to talk to me because I'm black?" I'm like, "No, dude. like I grew up with black people. Like, that's, I'm used to you guys."
That'd been funny if like he's like, "Can I borrow your bike?" No. And then he's like, then he comes back and steals it. You're like, "It's all right because I stole it too."
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, in Colombia, we were doing some stupid shit, man. I remember, I think I told you guys a story that we had some evangelicals. Is that what they're called?
Evangelicals.
Evangelicals living across the street from us, and our street like wasn't very like, it wasn't paved, so it wasn't like a dirt road, but it was like busted up, concrete and shit. It was just really busted up, and across the street from us, that's where they lived, and they would bake bread. That was their business. They would bake bread, and then their dad would ride around a little motorcycle with the stack of bread on the backside, and he would just go deliver it wherever the fuck he went to deliver it. One day they just got up and left. Like, I don't know. It was like one day they were just gone. And then my friends were like, "Man, do you think that they left anything cool behind?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I'm like, "Fuck, I'm going to go look." So obviously the doors are locked and everything, but I climb onto the roof and I hop into their backyard.
Oh shit!
So in the back, they had guitars. They had an older motorcycle that was super old that they left there. They left all this shit, and I'm like, and I hop back onto the roof and I tell my friends like, "Yo, they got a bunch of shit over here." And it's like 5 of us. We all climb onto the roof and we all jump into the back, and then we just start taking their shit. And then, yeah, like I remember I took one of the guitars, and I sold it to this one guy and everything. And then my friend's like, "Man, we're pieces of shit. We just stole from some like religious people." I'm like, "Yeah."
So they just got up and moved.
Yeah, it was super weird. They wouldn't talk to anyone, like none of the neighbors or anything. I guess that's because they were very, secluded to their like morals, and we were just on the block. It was just a bunch of fucking degenerate teenagers, nosy neighbors, and stuff like that. So they would keep to themselves. Yeah, but I remember one day they just weren't there in the morning, and I was like, "Shit!" And then 2 days later, we stole their crap.
Yeah, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude,
Go ahead.
Yeah. When I was just gonna say, we had some people like that on my block as well. Like, they were super religious. I forgot what it was called, but they were like the corduroy skirts and shit, and like I think it was like a branch off of what are the people who have like the long fucking beards and like they wear the straw hats and shit? They don't use like
Amish.
Yeah. I heard that they were like a more relaxed version of Amish, but they still wouldn't like talk to anybody. And they had 3 kids, I think. And so we would go over when we first moved in. We were like, "Hey, do you want to play?" And they'd be like, "Well, I have to go ask my parents." And every single time they'd come back and be like, "No, my parents said no." Parents said no. And I started asking why, and they're like, "We don't know." and yeah, my parents like noticed this because I didn't know much about religion, but my parents noticed that the dad would always have like a tucked in shirt with like the belt, and the mom was always wearing like the corduroy skirt down to her ankles and stuff like that, and the girls would be wearing that too. And yeah, it was just really weird. Like they didn't talk to anybody because we talked to our neighbors as well, and they're like, "We don't know them." They never come out of their house. They only go to work or wherever and come back. Like
Yeah.
they're never outside, which is really weird.
So I remember the only part on my block that was paved was like the end part, and it was like a strip of like maybe 3 houses, and that's where we would play like street soccer. That's when let's go play. Like we would play there and that little strip because the rest of the street was fucked. So he would come through us, and they'd be like car or like motorcycle or whatever, like you guys know that. So he was coming by, and nobody saw him. That he was coming by on his motorcycle with all this bread on the backside, and somebody kicked the ball and hit him while he was. He tipped over, and all his fucking bread fell out of his basket. Oh my god, dude! We were like freaking out. This is how you could tell, like we weren't bad kids. We were just stupid because we were like, oh my god. We started like we grabbed him, we picked him up, we picked his motorcycle up, and now his bread was fucked, and he was just so disappointed, and he was like, oh man, these fucking kids, what the fuck. And then he was like, well, now I gotta go make some more. And I think that's why they moved out. Honestly, all the fucking people that lived on that block, they just didn't connect with us. But we just all his bread was like on the ground. Dude, imagine he was a black belt or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, should be, man. Free bread.
Yeah. No, it was on the ground and stuff. So
Yeah.
come on, we weren't that poor.
Cut the crust off. Cut the outside. Was it like a big loaf?
Yeah, I would have probably ate it.
These guys
Yeah.
just start eating them.
Yeah. Let's get some butter. Just-
Make that LSD bread.
So I was listening to you guys' podcast last week since I wasn't a part of it.
Mhm.
And I remember you guys, by the way, I'm just bringing this up now because I can. When you guys were talking shit about the people that get excited for snow, I am one of those people. Okay,
the snow. We're gonna go
The
do the
snow.
snow.
Let's go to the snow.
Yeah, you know what I tell my wife sometimes? I'm like, hey, let's go up to the mountains and find some snow. Listen,
Yeah.
motherfuckers, I lived in a very humid climate all my life. All right, every time I see snow, I have to stop and play with it. Okay, fuck you.
Well, tell your snow story at school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I only did about like 6 months of high school in America, and it was what's it called? Yeah. So I did 6 months of high school in America, and in my high school, one day I'm in math class, and it was super cold that day, and it was raining, and all of a sudden you hear all this commotion in the hallways. Like, oh my, like people, kids just screaming. And then my teacher's like, what the fuck is going on? My teacher would curse. My math teacher, he would curse. He's like, the fuck? And then he looks out and he looks over at us. And he's like, it's snowing outside. And then we all get up and like get out of our seats and everything and just run outside like during class. Like it's not even like the change of period or whatever. And then he's like, everybody's just in like the courtyard just playing with the snow. People are having snowball fights and it's going crazy. Like I remember my friend, I wasn't next to him, but I saw him in the distance because he was in another class and he's with another friend and they're just jumping up and down like, like a bunch of idiots. And it was just like, okay, cool. And then the dean starts going around. I was like, all right, everybody back to class. Everybody back to class. So we get back to class, and then the principal gets on the fucking speaker or whatever, and he's like, yes, it is true. It is snowing here in New Orleans, and blah, 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 blah. I know that we haven't seen snow in probably like 15 years, but we have to finish up the period.
Mhm.
And we only had like 20 minutes worth of class of that period left before you have to go move on to the next one. And as soon as the bell rang, everybody just leaves the fucking their classes, and then the courtyard just having a snowball fight. You have about 5 minutes to get to your next class, but everybody was just like fucking around in the snow like it's gold. And we get to class and we're just covered in ice and shit. And then and everybody, I was late to my next class and everything, and it was just fun. It was just fun. So now, like, if I see snow, I start peeing myself. I'm like, yep, I gotta go touch that.
Snow is a good time though. You can have a lot of fun in that. I've had lots of fun in snow. We used to, in elementary, we used to do these like sculpture contests, and we would each grade would do a fucking sculpture in the snow. And one year we did a giant cereal bowl with cereal in it. And so it was huge, like big.
Yeah.
Like it stood taller than me, the bowl was. And and everyone made a snowball and put it in there. And so and there was a spoon that came out of it too. And so it looked like it was a big giant bowl of cereal in the snow.
Damn. Are all people from Utah just skilled at snow sculptures?
Well, when you got the snow, you can play around in it.
Man.
We used to do all kinds of stuff because yeah, Blink.
Fuck is that?
That's Hayden.
That's Hayden, isn't it?
That's a
That's what I
Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger himself.
I think I was lagging out.
I remember we had so much snow one year. Like it was close to 5 feet. Like it was super high, and we just dig holes through our front yard and just make these caves out of snow and just everything. Just go out and play it. The shitty thing is my mom always made me go to the old people in the neighborhood and shovel their snow. That was the only shitty part. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you guys are, I mean, Stigo, I know where you lived. It just rained, huh? Or
We got some snow actually, but just enough to cover the ground. And then like we had a Chinook wind. If anyone knows what a Chinook wind is, it's like this warm wind coming from like a certain direction. I don't know, the east, and like we'd get snow, and then the wind would come, and it'd melt by the afternoon. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I never got any of that. Like it would be cold and wet in the winters and then super hot in the summers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, and I remember I'd go out there and play with hail.
Like, hey,
snow.
hey, Jim, throw the fucking ice in his face.
My dad, I remember one time, like, it was cold and wet, and it was raining, and it was hailing, but it wasn't like hail. It was more like sleet. It's like you guys know what sleet is?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like hail usually comes in like big, hard, like balls, right? And
Marble.
sleet is like ice, like frozen ice droplets. That's basically what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he gathered it all, and he came inside the house, this big fucking mountain of sleet, and he's like, oh. He was so excited too. And we're sitting there playing with it. I throw it at my brother, it smacks him in the face.
Like a shotgun blast.
Like, he hits me back and shit. Like that's how much we love like shit like that we would play with fucking sleet or hail.
Yeah. Yeah, we had like barely enough snow on the ground, but we'd still go out and like play with it as much as we can. We did the whole like truck with a rope and tie it onto like a sled, then pull each other around, or like some four-wheeler with the rope. And we'd go crazy, and we just keep like pulling the other one around on the sled, and like we'd go over patches of just like gravel or just dirt. Like pretty soon we'd like lift up the sled and there's just a hole in it from dragging on the gravel or like the road.
Yeah, you make what you do, man.
Yeah, it was still fun though.
I can understand the fascination with the snow though. When I moved from Arkansas to Colorado, it was like my first year there. I took the newspaper bag. When people used to have newspapers, right? And I went outside and I stuffed it full of snow, and then I put it in the freezer because I just wanted to have the snow forever. I was like, oh. And it was like the middle of the summer, and my mom was like, "Do you still want this? Why do we have this in the freezer?" I was like, "Because I don't want to get rid of the snow. I don't want it to ever go away."
So fuck you guys that said, "Oh, I don't know why people are so interested in snow. Like, look at these dweebs on the side of the road playing with snow." I'm one of those dweebs.
I lived in the snow, and I'm still interested by the snow.
I love it. I love when it comes around.
It's just funny when people have never seen it get so excited.
Hey, Hayden, if you're listening, I'm gonna go to Texas and I'm gonna mow down some bluebonnets with one of those giant fucking John Deere mowers. It just takes everything apart.
Gonna make a whole mess of blue bonnets.
Because I thought Blue Bonnet was don't they make butter? Isn't that a butter brand?
Says, hey,
Blue bonnet. I think so. It sounds
Some shit like
familiar.
I don't know. My sister-in-law, who's from Texas, she swears by Blue Bonnet as well.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's some gay shit. That's all I know.
We talk
Yeah.
shit, but I think Texas is probably the best state to move to.
Right now,
I think,
yes.
to live. Yeah, right
Yeah.
now, totally, man.
I like Idaho.
Shut up. Idaho's
Why?
Idaho.
What the fuck? Why Idaho? Even
Because
Utah.
it's up north. There's trees up there, and it's a pretty red state. Yeah.
trees.
Everyone from Idaho are a bunch of tards.
No.
Yes. They all everyone from Idaho thinks Idaho is like the greatest state in the world.
That's because it is. Do you ever
Dude,
see
you're from
any,
Washington.
do
Shut
you ever
up.
see any people from Idaho like moving out to other states? No, because they know that their state.
It's
is
because
bad.
they can't. They can't move from other states. They don't got the balls to just be like, you know what? I'm gonna.
Oh,
Mm.
The fuck, Idaho, really?
yeah,
But
Idaho, man.
But Idaho is stupid. It's dumb. And everyone from Idaho drives so fucking slow. Dude, Rod's frozen. Let's roast him. Look at his gay beard. So
Yeah.
he's so oh.
Ah,
And he's
he
gone.
left. Gonna take the heat.
But everyone from Idaho that would come down to Utah drives so fucking slow.
Mm,
But given people from Utah, they drive kind of fast. They drive kind of crazy.
yeah,
They're very aggressive drivers.
crazy people.
But what pisses me off is when you get those fucking Sunday drivers. There's like, today is the Lord's Day. And they're like, we need to drive the speed limit or slower.
What? I've never heard of that, to be honest. That's
Yeah,
wild.
You don't want to break any laws on the
Yes.
Lord.
Wow.
Because Jesus is going to cast you to hell.
Mm. That's crazy.
I wonder if Rod's going to come back.
Yeah,
You
I got
never-
a topic we can talk about.
Dude, growing up in the... Oh, here he comes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, welcome back, slut.
Yeah. So yeah, Idaho, really? The fuck?
Idaho, man.
You know, I've
Don't,
met two. I've
don't
only
knock
met
it
two
till you
people-
try it.
I've only met two people from Idaho ever in my life,
Mhm.
and one of them, she looked like Miss Trenchbull, and the other guy, he was in my boot camp, and he was a fucking tool. Like he was just. I was like, "Are you from Boise?" And he's like, "It's not Boise, it's Boise."
Boise.
Yeah, so he said that you pronounce it Boise. I don't know how true that is,
Yeah.
but he was just a fucking piece of shit, man. Fucking
Man.
tool bag, yeah.
You
But
guys must have some bad experiences with Idaho.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know why you haven't. You live next to it.
yeah, you're right there by
Yeah.
the border.
It doesn't bother me. All the people are friendly. I mean, it's a lot better than Cali.
Oh
People
yeah,
here are
anything's
mean.
better than California. Yeah.
Dude.
Anyways, go
Going
ahead.
back to
Okay.
growing up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up like in the Mormon church, you get a lot of those hypocritical like families. And we used to get like those families where their kids will be like they won't let their kids like watch PG-13 movies and stuff like that. And I grew up my mom letting us watch rated R movies and stuff like that shit. And these kids would always come over to our house, and then like someone in my family would be like, "Oh, you want to watch this movie?" And it would be a PG-13, and then the kids would be like, "Yeah, let's watch it." And then they'll watch it, and then they'll go tell their parents on one of us, and then
Oh,
they get all
no.
pissed. And my mom would just be like, "Shut up!
Yeah.
Like you can't hang out with them anymore. They're little faggots." She wouldn't say that. She always gets mad at me 'cause every time I'm around my mom, I'll say faggot around her. She gets so mad.
So did your
Run.
did your parents ever talk shit about your friends?
My mom never did. My friends, all of our friends, like growing up from my oldest brother down to my little brother, they all wanted to hang out at our house. Like all of our friends always came to our house. And it was And my sister was on dance company, so that was pretty cool for me, being like a kid in high school and junior high, and my sister's on dance company and the cheerleading. I'm like, yeah, all these girls are over here. And plus, I was on the wrestling team, so I was friends with all the football players, and then I had like all my sister's friends too, and they'd come over, and for some reason they wouldn't say something about my sister. They'd be like, hi Zach's mom, even though like I wasn't the close friend with them, but yet they would refer to my mom as my mom. It was weird.
My dad, I had this one particular friend. So when I graduated high school, it wasn't the only time that I lived in Colombia for more than 2 months, because we would go back every summer. So I was in a year every year of my life, for like 2 months at least. But I went to Colombia for like a year. I went to school over there for a year when I was younger. I think I was like in kindergarten or something. So I came back to the States and I started first grade, and I didn't know very much English. And there was this one friend, his name was Juan Ortega. If you ever listen to this, I remember my dad used to talk so shit about you. And he's a first grader. Like, he was the only child. He was his family was very strict Catholic, like, because there are very strict Catholics out there. Like, went to church every Sunday. They didn't drink. They prayed all the fucking time, and and all that stuff, right? He was the only child that was very, very spoiled. Like, he was always crying to his mom that he wants something. He was a dweeb, put it that way. And my dad, I used to go to his house, and my dad's like, "Are you hanging out with that faggot again? He's such a fucking nerd." And I'd be like, "No, he's not a nerd. He's my friend, Dad." And he's like, he's a fucking idiot. Like, he's so nerdy. Look at him. Why is he wearing those mandals? Like, the fuck, like, and his fucking parents, like, they just let him, like, they just give him everything he wants and this and that. And like, but it was funny. My dad would talk shit about my friends, and like, heavy.
That's
like,
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom didn't care with our friends. She like, the only thing is, like, growing up, we had like a curfew and all that, because 5:30 we had to be back in our house to have dinner and stuff like that, and then 9 o'clock we had to be in bed for school and stuff. So we were always out playing outside. Usually on the weekday, I think we would play outside, and then sometimes we get in fights with the other kids in the neighborhood. And shit like that. One time my sister hit a kid with her scooter in the leg, and cut his leg open, or his shin, and like, just all this stupid shit would always go on. We always play like capture the flag around our neighborhood. We had this one kid who was like into airsoft, and he was one that always talked about the military and how he wanted to be in the military, but he didn't have the
Never joined.
And so he had all this like military gear that he'd buy, and so he could run around with it. And so we'd play capture the flag, and I was sneaking up behind him once, and I got him. I don't remember what I was doing, but I got him, and he turns, and he said it didn't count because he wasn't alert.
What?
I was like, what the fuck's that supposed to mean?
That's
alert.
the point. Yeah.
Was he taking a nap,
Like,
like holding the gun? He's like, hey, that doesn't count. I was asleep.
Yeah. He just thought he was like all good at it and stuff like that.
You guys ever got hurt as kids?
Oh yeah.
Fuck. Because I got hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I never broke anything, but I told my sister to do something that broke her collarbone.
Nice.
Damn.
Those are a motherfucker, man.
So we grew up doing karate and stuff like that, and we had a slip and slide, and we had karate that day that she broke her collarbone, and I told her to surf on the on the slip and slide with a boogie board that you take out like in the ocean or something like that. And she's like, okay. So she does it and she slips, instantly falls on her shoulder, and she gets up crying, goes inside. And then my mom had to take her to the doctors, and her collarbone was snapped in half.
Damn.
Shit.
All right, I don't know if it was snapped in half. I think it was cracked or something like that. But it was enough to where she had to have an arm brace thing to keep her arm all steel and everything.
Right.
I've only broken one bone. It was it's my right forearm, and I had a bunk bed, and so I would, for some reason, I was like 5, and I would do like a roll off the top of the top bunk, and I would like land on the ground. And I was like a front flip or whatever. Anyways, I fucking biffed it, and I had like this plastic army helmet that was sitting on the ground, and my arm just like conforms to like the shape of it, to the side of it, and I'm running around, and my arm's just like fucked up, looking like this. And my mom's in the shower, and my brother and his friend are over, and they're like looking for her. My mom, before she got in the shower, she said, "All right, don't break any bones. I'll be out in 10 minutes." And I fucking break a bone. So she comes out in a towel, and I'm sitting on the couch like, so she takes like a little towel from the kitchen. She puts it over my arm so I can't look at it. I'm sitting on the couch, and then I like lift up the towel. I'm like, because it like makes me sick every time. Yeah, and our car was like dead, so we didn't have any jumper cables, so we had to get our neighbor to take us to the hospital. And since both my parents were in like the medical field, and they would always watch like these TV shows about like the ER and stuff like that, I asked, "Am I gonna be on TV?" Because I thought there's gonna be a camera crew because I had a broken arm. They're like, "No, honey, you're not." And whatever finally got into like the room that I was in, the nurse who was trying to put the IVs in my hand, she kept on missing. She missed like 5 times. She was putting it into the back. It was like, and never went in. I just remember that being like the most painful spot. No, son, we'll have to remove the arm.
Yeah, just cut off the arm. That's all you got to do.
What about you, Steegs? You ever break a bone?
No broken bones, but I've fallen off a horse a lot of times. We grew up riding horses and things. And then I said, screw horses, started riding dirt bikes. I've wrecked quite a few times. Pretty badass. Always showing off. I don't know what it is with me showing off, but we had
How do you
these.
show off on a horse?
Huh?
How do you show off on a horse?
You ride really fast, but that's not what I was showing. I was showing off on the dirt bikes, you know. We had these neighbor kids I used to go down and play with, and they're like at the end of the road, and we're like at the top. And I was like, I just threw on my motorcycle helmet, didn't strap it, nothing. And I'm just wearing my normal clothes because I'm just riding my dirt bike down to them to play with them. And I can see them sitting down there at the end of the road next to their house, and they're like waiting for me in the driveway. And I'm like driving on the gravel road, but then I'm like, oh, let me go off-road. So I'm riding off-road next to the gravel road. And I'm like thinking I'm cool, like doing all these jumps and stuff, looking all badass for these neighbor girls. And then they're like, I'm driving through the tall weeds and I don't see it. And I hit like a stump and I just go head over heels over my dirt bike. And like the first front flip I go, my helmet, because I didn't have it strapped, just shoots off.
Oh my God.
And I like hit my head. I'm like, oh, I don't even remember it happened so fast. I landed and this like motorcycle's on top of me and I cannot, like, I'm small. I'm like 10 at the time and I have a pretty big motorcycle and I cannot push it off. And I'm just like stuck there under a motorcycle. And I think I hit my head. So my head's kind of like bleeding in the back. Yeah.
Did they come and help you?
Yeah, I could like, I was stuck there like on my side and I was watching them like run up to me and just dust everywhere.
You're like, oh, take care of me.
I remember I got concussed one time as a kid, pretty bad. but it happened in Colombia as well during one of the summers that we were spending there. And we're at my friend had, or not my friend, my mom had a friend that had three kids. And we would go over there and play with them and this and that. And one day I remember we were playing with them and the kids on their block. And we were playing soccer and they were just shooting the ball towards like this house that had like 2 posts, like 2 pylons. And I was pretending that we were pretending that was the goal. And I was just blocking everything, man. I was in the zone. I was just like every shot, bam, bam, bam. I was just blocking everything. There was one particular shot that came to my right. And I blocked it, but I went up so high, I didn't put my hands in the way to break my fall. So my head bounced off the freaking concrete. Like it was like boom, like right here on the temple. And
Damn.
and you could hear the kids like, oh shit, he blocked it. And then I get up and I'm like about to cry because it hurts. But I just go inside like my friend's mom's house, like, and I start crying in there. And I'm like, oh my God, my head. And then and then my mom's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, like it really hurts. Like I can't, like it really hurts. And she's like, well, okay, we'll go back home because you seem to hit your head pretty hard. And we were trying to get this taxi because we didn't have a car over there. A lot of people travel in buses or a cab. So my mom's trying to get a cab, but usually people try to get the nice cabs with AC and all this other stuff. And, you know, but we had to get like this old, like fucking 60s taxi that's the first one that came by. So we were in there and we go back home and, like there was a doctor on the corner of where we were, my grandma's house where we were living at the time. And she takes me over there to him because I tell him like my head was just in pain. And then, he's like, well, it was just like a little like office that he had. It wasn't like a clinic or in a hospital or anything. And then he's like, no, you got to take him to the hospital because, you know, he could be concussed. And there was stairs leading up to his office. And I remember leaving his office and I'm trying to go down the stairs and I'm like, I can't because my balance was all fucked up. And then, alleyway doctor. Yeah. and then I'm like, I couldn't move my legs. Like, that's how bad it was. I'm like, I can't go down the stairs, Mom. Like, I can't. She had to like carry me down the stairs. And I'm like a bigger kid. Like, I'm not like a little kid. I'm like maybe around 9. Like, and she's carrying me down the stairs. And then we get into another cab and go to the hospital. But the hospitals over there are fucked. Like, it's not like you could go into the ER and if it's bad enough, they'll take you. It's like you wait in line and see if they'll take you. Like, that's how it worked. And we're waiting for us to let us in the hospital. And I'm throwing up outside the hospital. Like, if you guys ever been concussed, like that's, you lose your balance and you start puking. So I was just puking, like, blah, blah, just puking my ass off. And that's when the doctor saw this little kid thrown up that just hit his head. They bring me in and like, they lay me down in this bed and they're like, okay, just rest or whatever, just rest. But a few hours later, like I recovered from it. My head was still hurting. And I remember I was in the room where they have all the beds for all the patients. And I see my grandpa stick his head like through the door. My grandpa didn't give a fuck. That dude, he ran through the hospital like entrance. They were like, hey, sir, you can't go in there. He's like, fuck you. I'm going to go see my grandson. And then he peeks his head there looking for me because there's so many people like on the beds. And I see him and I was like, oh, I'll just pretend I'm dead. and I'm sitting there in bed like, like, I don't think he saw me, but I just saw him. I was like, I'm pretending I'm dead. And I'm pretending. But I recovered from it. And then the next day, I remember my head was still hurting and stuff like that. But dude, that was crazy. I felt like I was like paralyzed. I couldn't move my legs. I could stand up on them, but I couldn't move them. Like I was scared to go down the stairs. I was throwing up and shit. Like it was wild.
That seems like it's wild.
Yeah. You guys ever been concussed before?
No, I've never had.
It's pretty bad. It's like you see all these football players and like fighters and stuff like that. Like when they get concussed, it's like a big deal because that shit fucks with you. I think that's when I just became retarded. Because
my brother did. He so we were at a karate tournament and he got kicked in the head like pretty hard. And I guess he was concussed and he's laying on the bleachers and my mom was like just keeping him awake and he's all trying to fall asleep.
Yeah. They said that's like the one thing, like if you hit your head, and you think you're concussed, don't fall asleep.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if it's because you might die or I don't know, but they say don't fall asleep.
I think you can like throw up and stuff. That's probably what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Or-
Dude, it's crazy, man. I was perfectly fine that day, and then just when I hit my head, it was just like I couldn't walk. I was throwing up, puking. Dude, it was wild. It was wild.
A story kind of like that. So we had these big soccer balls, like those ones that you blow up with air. It was huge. It like went up to my waist, and we'd always run and jump onto it. And I went to go run and jump onto it in my butt, but right as I did that, the wind blew it out from underneath me, and I hit the ground straight on my ass.
Oh,
And dude, it hurt so fucking bad. I just got up and I'm like holding my butt. I'm like, oh my god, you know,
Dude,
Your
hurting your
tailbone.
tailbone is a motherfucker, dude.
I could not sit down. I couldn't do anything. I thought I broke it. Like, dude, it
Yeah.
hurt so bad. You
It's a
can't even sit
It-
down.
It like takes
Yeah,
the
dude.
wind out of you.
Yeah, I hit my tailbone too, like playing soccer on the street in that one part where I told you guys earlier.
Yeah.
And I same thing. I fell or I tried to step on the ball or something. I don't know. I remember, but I fell right on my ass. And
No.
I got up and I'm like I couldn't walk, and then it just gets worse. And
I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I tried to kick so hard that like my grounded but came off the ground, and I landed on my ass and hurt my tailbone that way.
yeah,
You ever get hurt? and
I
just-
hurt my
That was
tailbone.
me making
And-
weird noises.
yeah.
And then I remember, I think that happened like on a Saturday or something. Sunday, it still hurt. I couldn't fucking walk. And I told my sister, I'm like, I think I hurt my tailbone. I can't walk. And me and my sister were in the same grade in high school in Columbia because she chose to, when we went there, they said, hey, do you want to go to 10th or you want to stay in 9th? And I said, no, fuck that. Put me in 10th. And then they would ask her the same thing. Do you want to go be in 10th or you want to go to 11th grade? She was like, no, I don't think I'm ready for 11th grade. Like, just put me in 9th and 10th. So she told everybody in class that my tailbone was fucked and I couldn't walk. So the teacher's like, okay, Jose, come up here and explain what you heard about the story or about the article I was reading. I don't know what it was. So I get up and I'm like, like walking over there like nothing's wrong. And then I finished like telling the whatever the fuck I was telling the class. And then one of the guys in my class, he's like in the far corner. He's like, hey, Jose, come here. And I like forgot. And then I take a step and I'm like, and I just collapsed. Like, oh, like in front of the whole class, it just collapsed because they knew that my tailbone was fucked up. So that's why he wanted me to go over there. He was trying to fuck with me. He was like, oh, come here, like for no reason, like just come here.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stupid thing about doing that is I did it twice.
Oh shit.
And I did it in the house, and it was in front of all my family. And I went to go do it, and somehow I think someone either kicked it out from beneath me or something, and I smacked the ground again. But this was in the living room. You think I would learn from the first time, but I didn't. Just fucked myself up. I've almost broke things. Like I've gotten so close. I was on like the jungle gym thing that they have at school, and I slipped and I smacked my ribs on the fucking bars. And that one, I felt like I broke my ribs, but I couldn't even like do anything with that either. I couldn't breathe. I fucking couldn't even lay on my stomach, anything like that. That hurt so.
Dude, what is the deal with jungle gyms? They're so dangerous.
Yeah,
And they have them everywhere.
We used to play this game. I don't know where we came up with it, but me and my friends would get at the top of the stupid slide, and it was like one of those spiral slides, and we'd all just start falling down it and just like hitting each other and kicking each other in the face, and then our biggest friend, who's huge to us, he would fall down after we would start falling down, so then he would come and smash us and everything. We were idiots.
Yeah, I think I've broken my arm. I busted my head open twice. I've broken my nose. I've broken my collarbone. And I fucked up I got stitches like maybe 3 times. One as an adult or twice as an adult. I've gotten stitches, but I remember again playing soccer. I don't know why this always happens. In Colombia, like same thing, right? So you know how you said, "Oh, you feel like you'll learn from the first time," you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't learn even after years that happened. Almost like 6 years since I got concussed. I was still throwing myself, thinking I was Spider-Man, trying to block these balls if I was like being the goalie or whatever. And same thing. We were playing. I was blocking the balls. Next to me on my left was a big like pile of just rocks, like stones and shit. And the ball came to my left. I didn't block it. I landed in the pile of rocks, and it kind of hurt. I was like, whatever. It's no big deal. I get up, and I feel like something's dripping off my hand, right? It's my right hand. And I look at my right hand, and I look down. It's bleeding. I look down. There's it's a broken bottle in the pile of rocks that I just straight up just like to pick myself up. I just pressed my hand against it, and it cut me. And it cut me like right where the webbing of my fingers are.
Oh.
And I'm just bleeding like crazy. And then I'm like, oh fuck. My friends are like, hey man, you need to get that shit looked at. My sister's like up the street talking to like a friend or something, and I'm like running down the street with my hand covered in blood. And I'm like, yo, like, look at this, look what happened. And she looks at it, and instead of being like, okay, let's go home and whatever, she's like, oh yeah, you're gonna need stitches. And she just walks away.
Wow.
And then I'm knocking on the door of at my house, and then my godmother's there because she lived with us. I was like, I cut my hand open, and I would always pretend that I was hurt, but I was never hurt. To my family, like, oh my god. So she didn't believe me. My godmother's like, stop fucking lying. She wouldn't open the door, and I'm bleeding everywhere. Like and then eventually, like, she saw it. She's like, oh fuck. Like, okay, yeah. So they called my grandpa over because he had a car, and he brought me to an alleyway doctor. He stitched up my hand. He stitched up my hand, and he's like, all right, don't remove them. Don't remove the stitches by yourself, okay? Just come back to get them off. And I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not going back over there. Like, right. So like 2 weeks went by, and I was like, I think it's healed. I think I could take these off. And I don't even get like a pair of scissors or anything. I get a pair of shears, like the kitchen scissors, big ass ones.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm using to pull the stitches out. Like I cut them, and then I pulled the stitches out, and it was not healed yet. Like, the fucking wound was still open.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, fuck, dude. And then like I had to be careful for like the next like 2 weeks just to not reopen the wound. But I think I reopened it one time, but it was like almost healed, so it didn't really bleed that much. But what are the odds, man? A fucking broken bottle in a pile of rocks cuts my hand open.
Oh, man. That's funny. I want to before we get into that, I have something I want to do, some new thing on the podcast. So okay. you know how we watched the Nintendo video, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I kind of want to find some like old like videos, stuff like that, or commercials, and just kind of like make fun of it, react to it, and stuff
roast
like that.
It. Yeah.
This is a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
If here, hold on a second.
What is it?
This is. Hold on. Oh, you'll have to see it when I show you. It's pretty good. You have to make sure you guys can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Your macho video.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Here we go.
What?
Rapists beware.
What
you guys
you're
hear
about
it?
to learn might save your life.
Hi, I want to welcome you here to this Rapist Beware course. I'm going to teach you how to protect yourself against being murdered.
If you're being attacked, you must consider any and all options to ensure your safety. even if it means being gross. You might try belching loudly in your assailant's face, or if you can, pass gas. The smell may drive him away. Try urinating on yourself, or if you can, try to excrete on yourself. Rub the excrement
Start
on your
shitting
arms
on
and
yourself
face.
and just
If you're
start rubbing
saying
it everywhere.
that's too repulsive, you're right. Put your thumb into the eye. Pound his head into the pavement.
She's
and kick him in the head. Drive your thumb into the tomato and rip out. Roll with him and pinch and
Tomato.
shake as hard as you can.
Just grab them.
Watch carefully. One of the best techniques
Oh my
is
God.
biting as hard as you can on your boyfriend's lips or neck. Rip your fingernails across his face for good measure. Pound his head. Quit fighting and wait for your chance. Then bite off his penis. I know this is shocking, but if you want to survive, you'll consider this a serious defense technique. Even children need to learn how to defend themselves, and they can do it. You don't have to be 6 feet tall and weigh 200 pounds to be able to protect yourself. Don't think you can't. Know
way.
that you can.
Oh my god.
Everything's terrible.
Dude, it's
Oh wow.
that looks like it was done with something.
That was pretty bad.
Rapists beware.
Shit on yourself.
What do you think?
Rub it on your
there goes Rod
arms.
again. What do you think of the cucumber?
That was the best part. That was hilarious.
I like the face. She was very stone cold the entire time. She goes. She just like gets up slowly.
It's just funny because, like, for people who are listening and can't see it, it's a self-defense video, but it's like super over the top stuff, and they're using a cucumber as a dick for the woman to bite it off. It's so funny of like how that fucking is just played out.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
they really thought that like kung fu and karate and all that stuff back in like the 80s was like the thing. It was like
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite.
In the video, because it looks like she's like trying to like get at his dick. And he's trying to keep her back, like, no, don't fucking do it. And then she gets up there and he like pulls the cucumber up, and then she's all, just like shoves it in her mouth, like she's gonna give him a blowjob or something.
Right. Oh wow. That was hilarious.
Yeah, there's so many videos out there. Me and Stiegel were looking through all these YouTube videos of like which ones that we can pull up and make fun of.
Oh, we found some good ones. I think the funniest ones are the self-defense. They're just so bad. Those early ones.
Some of my favorite ones are like the training, the old training videos like Blockbuster or something like that.
Golden Corral.
I wonder, do you think Blockbuster was outside the country, or do you think that was like just in the United States?
Oh man,
I think it was just in the U.S.
Yeah. It was big, but it wasn't that big. I don't know. I heard there's like one left. Like there's one standing Blockbuster somewhere. I forgot where it is, but they're keeping it alive.
I think it's like up in Canada and something like that.
Canada? Are you sure it's not in the U.S. somewhere?
I
swear.
think when they started, they were just in the U.S. But then, like when they were like super big, they branched out to like Canada and like maybe just the U.S. and Canada, and then once they left. But like the only place where it's open right now, from what I was told, is like a small town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they don't really have like internet or anything, so they can't like stream movies, and so they have to go to the Blockbuster.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man,
what'd you think of that video?
It was pretty funny.
Gold rapist.
Especially that part where she's chewing it, like shoving the cucumber in her mouth.
Yeah, I love how she like spits it out and then she just walks away casually.
It just
like, what?
uh,
You don't need RoboCop. Like you just
yeah, RoboCop's not going to be there to blast those dicks away.
Mhm.
Rapists beware.
I like how they used a tomato right next to his eye. Jab.
Grab your thumb through the tomato.
That's funny. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Let's talk about the fad style that was in while you guys were
Oh
going
my
to school.
god,
There were so many. Let's
so many.
who had like piercings or what did you guys do growing up? Did you guys go through an emo phase or goth? Any of those?
No.
So
Beaver hair.
you had Bieber hair. That's a
counts.
fad.
That's one of them. Yeah.
No question about it.
Mhm.
But anyways, no, dude, I guess I had a skater phase more than anything. I listened to emo music, but I never like put my hair down and wore like eyeliner and pretend I was suicidal and shit like that. Like
Yeah.
it was more of a skater phase. Thanks to the Tony Hawk games, like I started dressing like buying skateboard shoes and I would wear like everything DC or something or like
Spitfire.
yeah. Nowadays, if you wear DC, you're fucking you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Or, if you're a kid, it's cool because or back then it was like, okay, yeah, like this is dope. Like because
It's like
Those big puffy ones.
the
The only
big
one who wear those
skateboard
now
shoes.
are people who live in trailers.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like the tap out.
Tap
Yeah.
out, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. I
the
remember.
douchebags wearing those.
Yeah, bro. Because I remember I had this friend. His name was Trey. Him and I and our group of friends were all big pro wrestling fans, big WWE fans. We went to middle school. This is elementary. We went to middle school, and he's like, "I don't watch wrestling anymore. I watch MMA. Like, I watch UFC." So he started like his MySpace fucking profile was all like tap out, or it was like Tito Ortiz or something like that. Like, and I wonder if he still wears tap out because he would go to school. Like we wore a uniform, so we would get to wear anything we want. He would always wear like tap out or some stupid shit like that. And it was cool. Man, like, man, dude, I want a tap out shirt too, man. MMA is dope. Because my dad liked MMA too. And I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. I never got it. Now, like if you see a dude wearing tap out, he's a douchebag. Yeah.
There's no way you can wear tap out now.
No.
No, there's no way. Even the UFC got rid of tap out because they used to sponsor the fighters.
I think they have like little like sponsors here and there of tap out, but it's not really much.
Yeah, because I used to watch The Ultimate Fighter, and he used to like the guys would have like a tap out shirt or trunks or whatever. It's like now everything's Reebok, like it's all like standardized. But
Right.
yeah,
I think tap out's mostly gone because the guy who helped start it or who started it died, and they started selling tap out shirts out of the back of their car at fighting events, and that's how they fucking grew.
damn.
Yeah,
That's
So
what-
they started off pretty cool and all that, but then
Mhm.
one of the owners fucking died.
Yeah, there was Charles Lewis Jr., Dan Caldwell, and Tim Katz. I don't know who any of them
the
are.
guy who wore like
Don't
the
know.
big top hat or whatever all the time. He fucking
Oh,
What? That's crazy. I didn't know that. Who
Yeah,
wears
it
a
is
top
crazy.
hat these days?
But what was like the stupidest thing people were doing in your time?
In school, I remember they used to call them. This is in elementary, mind you. They used to call them sex bracelets. You guys ever?
Bracelets.
Yeah. So there was these bracelets that people would wear. They were just like the most generic fucking rubber band looking thing that you would wear, and each one meant something. And then if you go up to somebody and snap whatever color it was, that's because you wanted to do that thing with them. So one was like, oh, you want to give them a blowjob, or you want just straight sex, or do you
Yes,
want?
I remember that, but I was
Yeah.
in like middle school or
Oh, so it's an older thing. So it's not even like a my time thing. Oh wow.
wait, what year were you born?
94.
Yeah, so when you were doing it, so I was in middle school or high school when you were
Yeah.
when you guys were doing it. So
Yeah, and it was so stupid to me. Like I remember I watched this kid go up to this Asian chick, and she had some on, and then he went up to her and just snapped one of the bracelets because they were really easy to snap, and she's like, "You want to put it in my butt?"
yeah.
Yeah, that's in elementary school when I saw those.
Wow.
Fucking
I didn't even think of that stuff. All I was
Yeah.
doing was fucking pogs and yo-yos in elementary.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yo-yo.
yeah, and I was like playing video games and stuff. Like I wasn't even like into any of that.
Yeah, that's so weird.
All right. What about fights? The first fight you were ever in?
I didn't really fight.
Nope.
All right. Well, I got one, and it was like an unintentional fight. So our neighborhood was kind of new, and they had like some lots that were bulldozed, and they had like a bunch of mounds of dirt that they were going to pick up later with a dump truck. But me and my brother and my friends, they had like 3 kids. So they had like an older brother, middle brother, and then younger brother. We would all go and we would have dirt clog wars. And so we would be like, all right, and go. And we'd pick up like a giant, like just clog of dirt, like this big, and just throw it at each other. And we'd have to duck behind the mounds of dirt. Well, the one that I threw, I was aiming at the youngest brother, who was like probably like 7. I pick one up, I throw it at him. And little did I know that there was a rock inside of this dirt clog. I just fucking nail him right in the face. And he's just screaming, ah! And the oldest brother is like, hey, you just threw a rock in my little brother. I was like, I didn't mean to. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And be it we're like 11 or 12 at this time. And so I take off running down the street. He catches up to me and he hops on my back. And I'm like, ah. And so I just decide to just fucking pile drive him. I lean over and drive his head into the fucking concrete. And then I punch him and I run off because I was like, fuck, he's going to come after me. And then eventually he went and told his parents, and he came over to my house, and my dad stapled his head because he had a giant laceration across the top. My dad had like medical stapler.
Oh, I thought you were saying like maybe.
Yeah, like my son's.
He's like, get away from my kids.
No, I mean that's kind of how it is. It's just like a stapler, but just for skin.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I remember in Colombia, like this friend on my block. Now he's been my friend since we were in diapers. Like, grew up with him. Like, there's pictures of us when we were babies, like with his mom and my mom and stuff like that. So we were very like close. But we were kind of like brothers because sometimes we wanted to fight each other. And I remember as kids, he was just pissing me off that week. He was just like being a fucking asshole. Like, I don't know what it was. And I'm like, oh man, we're going to go play soccer later. I'm telling myself, we're going to go play soccer later. I'm itching for a fight. Like I woke up that day, I just wanted to kick his ass. And we're playing soccer and he threw a tantrum or whatever. And I'm like, you're a fucking crybaby. You're fucking baby, this and that, yada, yada, yada. Just talking shit. Like I'm in his fucking face. And he just punches me in the face. Like a jab. Bah, in the face. And then I start just swinging on him like a fucking monkey. Like on his back. And then he turns around and I just like kick him in the stomach real hard. Knock the wind out of him. And I planned that the whole time. I was like, oh, I'll just kick him in the stomach because that's gonna hurt him. And then his dad sees the whole thing, and then his dad starts walking over towards us, and I'm walking away like I'm a badass. Like, I just kicked Jordan's ass. Blah 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 blah. That's what he fucking gets. And his dad is like, Jordan, kick his ass. Like, But his dad's cool too. Like his dad was treated me very well. And he talked to us. He was like, "You guys are like brothers. You guys shouldn't be fighting like that." Like, and then we hugged it out afterwards. But we were like kids, and this would happen even when we were like teenagers. Like we would like get into like little like oh, you're a piece of shit and scuffles here and there. But that one I remember because I planned the whole thing out. I'm like, I'm gonna antagonize him, and then I'm gonna fucking kick him in the stomach to knock the wind out of him. And I did, and he just like, when you get the wind knocked out of you, you're just like, oh, you can't move. Like,
Yeah.
I had that happen when I was doing karate and stuff like that. I was doing something. I guess we were sparring, and fucking someone kicked me right in the stomach. And I couldn't breathe. I was like, I was like, I can't do this.
yeah. Even in middle school, like I got the wind knocked out of me, and we never had recess. Our recess was like gym class, pretty much, in middle school, and we were just fucking around, man. Like it was just everybody just started piling on top of me. I was on the ground, and then the kid that's like right above me, he starts just punching me in the ribs, like, and I could hear him like in my ear, just like really trying to hurt me. He was just like, and he hits me one good time in the liver, and I'm just like, oh, and I'm stuck underneath all these motherfucking kids, and I can't breathe. I thought I was gonna die, dude. I was like,
probably,
yeah,
you would feel like that.
Yeah,
man.
Suffocation.
The only fights I'd get into with my siblings and something like that.
I wouldn't fight them that much. But I broke my brother's nose one time. I didn't break it. I just like fucked it up real good.
I never broke it. I threw a thing at my brother, and he turned and it hit him in the head. And it was just like this metal piece from the pool, and it gashed his back of his head open. He was just gushing blood. Man, I feel bad about that one. My mom was so mad at me. I think he should have got stitches, but I don't think they took him to get any stitches.
Mm-hmm.
But since the head bleeds a lot anyways, it always seems like it should get stitches. But I always did stuff that always hurt my little brother, mostly. I whipped him, belt and all that.
One story that I have that's kind of fucked up. I was in seventh grade. And I was just hanging out with the wrong crowd. I never did like drugs or anything, nothing crazy like that, but I was just very mischievous in middle school. So, after lunch, they make us go sit by some bleachers for about 20 minutes until it's time to go back to class. And they're like, all right, you guys can't leave the bleachers. That was the rule. You can't go wander around the school or nothing. You guys got to sit in these bleachers. But me and my friends like snuck out. Like we started walking around the school. We knew that the teachers were gone for their lunch. Like they weren't there. And we went inside one of the classrooms, and my friend Cody, which he's dead now, by the way, he got shot in the face.
That's not funny. It's not funny.
He goes into one of the teachers' classrooms, right? And we're waiting outside the classroom. Like, all right, dude, just go in there, like, see if you can find anything, or do whatever. He walks out and he's just smiling at us, like, it's like, what'd you do? And he's like, and then he starts wiggling his pants, and all you hear is like money, like spare change and shit. And they're like, oh fuck, all right, cool. Like, we're gonna go buy some sodas now at the vending machine. So we go to the vending machine, buy some sodas, and I felt kind of bad. I'm like looking at my Coke, and I'm like, my friend Lewis, he was next to me. He's like, do you feel fucked up? And I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, we just stole some fucking money from the teacher and just, bought sodas with it. I'm like, damn, dude, you're right, man. We can't put it back. It's like, if we just give it away, like it, we didn't do it because we gave it to somebody else. So we gave it to some like other kids. Like, hey, you guys want the soda? It's unopened, whatever. So they took it. A few days later, the teacher is like, tells us like, somebody went into my drawer and stole some money. And that money was money that people were donating to me for my niece's cancer treatment.
Oh shit! Oh,
wow. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, it's sad because I'm trying to help my niece with her cancer, but man, some of the teachers were giving me whatever they could, and students were giving me whatever they could, and somebody just went in there and stole it all. And that was the money that Cody stole.
Did he feel bad about that?
I don't know, dude. I don't think I ever asked him about it. I don't think he did. He was like, honestly, it was only like $8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the principal, you know.
Do you think that she might have like said that just to make
Right. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. I never thought about it, but I know that it's crazy because they were blaming somebody else for it. Like they didn't even think it was us. They were saying it was this other dude in this other class that did it because they found a note that said like, "Oh, I got it," or I took it. But they were talking about, I guess he was talking about something else. He was my friend too, and he says like, "Dude, I didn't take her shit. Like I was talking about something else." And I was like, "Oh, that's a shame, you know, that they're blaming you for that, not me." But I don't know, man. She might have said that because of that, but it's kind of dark to go there, like if to make that up, to be like, "Oh, that was for my niece's cancer treatment or whatever." But
Yeah.
holy shit, man! Like I felt so bad. Like,
I would too.
you know, like we would sneak out and go into the classrooms, just rip like the posters off the walls or like drawings that other kids made. We would tear those down and shit. Like we were fucked up, man.
You're retards.
Yeah, it's probably why Cody's dead now. Like, like
Yeah, did
Poor
something
Cody.
fucked up. We in junior high, we had vending machines near the cafeteria. I almost called it a galley. The cafeteria, and
fag.
and the guy who was filling up the soda machines forgot to close 2 of them, or he didn't latch them far enough, and they opened, and we all just went in and just fucking grabbed so many fucking sodas out of there. Like we just ran.
You looted a vending machine.
We did. It was kind of like when people are rioting and they're just fucking taking everything.
Shit, yeah.
Right.
That's how that was. And I was in there. I was like, yeah. I think I grabbed like 2 or 3 sodas.
Yeah, dude. I felt so bad. That kid was like, that kid Cody was like a good guy, but he would make me do some stupid shit. I remember we were taking a test one time, and he sat in front of me because I don't know. You guys ever been in a classroom where like they got the separate desk, but the teacher puts them together in groups either way?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were taking a test, and he was sitting in front of me, and I was taking my test, and he starts humming. He starts like, like super loud, like the whole time, just taking the test, and he's just humming for like 10 minutes until the teacher's like, "All right, who the hell is doing that noise?" So dumb.
That's pretty funny.
Then he's dead.
Damn.
You are dead. See, Cody, you are dead. Fuck, why am I talking shit about it?
What's the scene from 21 Jump
Okay.
Street? Or is it
He's like-
22?
22, he's like, Cynthia, you are dead. Beep boop, beep bop. He's like, waving my hands all around. Specific point of view
Cynthia.
on things. He's just like, what is it? Julia Roberts.
Rob
Hurts.
Ah, so
Runaway
funny.
bride. That's for Cynthia. She's dead.
Everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's beautiful, beautiful poetry.
It's so funny.
What would you guys? What was your typical day? Like, if you came home from school, what would you like? What would you jump into first?
Threw down my backpack. You go. Brother Zachary Ellis, go first.
So I would get home from school, put all my stuff down. We had to do homework first. So if we had homework, we had to do that. But other than that, we'd go outside, get on our bikes or whatever we had, or go, because I lived right behind my high school, and we'd always go to the high school and play in the football field and do shit over there, or we would just go hang out with our friends, go to their house. We did all kinds of shit outside, and then on the weekends we do play video games and stuff like that. Like I was always outside.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I don't know. Are we talking about high school or like
Yeah,
younger, like middle
Yeah,
school
what'd you
and
do when you
stuff?
got off school?
Got off school. It really depends. When it was football season, I'd like practice football and then come home and just eat. I would eat so much. I it's crazy now, but like when I was like in high school, oh man, I would eat like a whole DiGiorno pizza to myself.
Was that because
Like,
you were you like legitimately hungry, or was that to bulk up because of football?
it's like legitimately hungry. Like, if you guys ever seen that Zac Efron movie, 17 Again, and he's like got all this food, and he's making these crazy sandwiches, and it's like, why are you eating this? I don't know. I'm just hungry all the time. It was literally me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would spend a lot of time eating. Sometimes when I was like lazy, I was like, I'd watched a lot of TV. I kind of liked a lot of TV. And then I'd play Skyrim. But I was also, hanging around my friends. We'd bike ride a lot. Like, we'd ride our bikes everywhere. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
So I guess when I was in like elementary / middle school, I'd get home and do you guys remember Club Penguin? Probably not. It's probably way above. There's like an online thing and it was called Club Penguin. I learned about it when I was in like 3rd grade. I played it from like 3rd to 5th grade and that was like my shit. I would always play that when I got home, or I'd go out and there was like some woods behind my house and like some friends would like take my dad's nails and hammer and like just scrap wood that we would find. And we would just like try to build like a tree house, but we sucked at it. We pretty much only got like the steps. And yeah, I would just kind of stay at home or like go out in those little woods back there and like pretend. But when I was in high school, I'd probably just get on my computer and play video games, or fucking if it was baseball season too, I would have to stay after like 3 hours and practice or lift, and then I'd get home, do homework, and rinse and repeat.
I guess
Not
for
very
me,
exciting.
I guess for me, I guess it all depends. When I was in middle school, elementary, I can't really remember what the fuck. I was a good kid, so I'm guessing I would just get home, eat something, and then do homework and whatever. Middle school, I would come home, I would eat something, and then take a fat ass nap. Like a fat ass nap. Like we're talking 3-hour nap. Like,
Wow.
I would get up, wake up, and not do my homework very often. I would do my homework either on the way to school or at school right before the class.
Yeah. Same.
And when I was in Colombia, it was similar. I would get home, I'd eat, and I'd take a fat ass nap. And I would wake up and then go play soccer down the street or hang out with friends in the street or something, or just kick it. Or we would ride our bikes everywhere too. But if I played soccer, it would start around 8 or 9 or 8 p.m. and it wouldn't end till like midnight. Like we'd be out there all night playing, and I'd come home and everybody's asleep, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna shower real quick because I would play barefoot, so my feet were all dirty and I was all dirty and stuff, and shower and then go to school the next day and do the same thing, rinse and repeat.
Man. Holy shit.
I would never do homework, bro. I don't know how the fuck I graduated anything.
I hated homework. I never did.
I never did my fucking homework.
What's crazy is I would always bring I had a backpack like I always do, and it would be fully loaded with like those thick ass geometry books. I'd bring the books home every night, but just never do my homework.
Yeah, bro.
Every
Like
night.
it's wild to me how I fucking graduated anything. Even like
Yeah.
I barely passed the 7th grade. The same grade when that kid stole that money. Like I barely passed that fucking grade. And then the rest, I don't even know how, dude. I just never did it. You know? I did well in the classroom. Like that's where I did well at. But I couldn't be bothered to do fucking homework at home. Like fuck that. Like, you know?
I got kicked out of my chemistry class in high school because you know how in the chemistry rooms they had like those faucets with like the rubber hose hanging off of it.
My school didn't have a chemistry class.
But we would,
okay, continue.
We would tie the ends of those, and we would turn the water on full blast while the teacher was giving his lectures, and it would fill up and then explode water everywhere. And we just kept doing it and doing it, and then finally the teacher screamed at us and was like, "Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of my class!"
Oh man.
I got a couple funny high school stories in New Orleans. I remember that math class I told you guys about. That's when the snow happened. But that math class it was weird. It was like a new thing they were doing. It wasn't just like a chalkboard or marker, whatever class. It was a very computer-based classroom. Like it was like they gave us you know what a bamboo is? Those pads. It's like it has a stylus and everything. Our actual teacher was like in Massachusetts, and then we just had a teacher in there to proctor us, you know, just to control us while we're there. But we did everything through the computer. I would sit there and play fucking a football game. But like as soon as I walk in, I log in, go to the website and find a football game, and fucking start playing football. The teacher would always be like, "Don't come in here playing fucking football," like. But I remember that there was this one kid that was on a website that was like not very family friendly. Like it was
like a porn.
Nudity and stuff like that. Kinda, And the teacher turns around. He's like, "Don't be looking at that shit in here. This and that." That kid got kicked out of the class. Like he wasn't in the class anymore. But I was sitting there playing football, and this other guy is like doing like some more raunchy shit over there in high school, freshman year. And another one, I was in geography class. My teacher, Mr. Thompson, I still remember him. Big, tall, like 6'6" black guy, right? Fucking stocky as hell. So he had two jobs. He was a geography teacher in high school, and he was also a CO at the local juvenile detention center.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he was pretty rough. And then he would tell us, "Don't you dare fucking fall asleep in my class, because you're not gonna like it. I'm not gonna wake you up and be like, go to the principal's office or nothing. You're not gonna like it, trust me." And this kid fell asleep in class. He's just sleeping, and we're there just sitting there doing our work, and we see that he's sleeping. And then we all said amongst each other, like, "Hey, if somebody falls asleep, don't wake him up. Like, just let it see what Mr. Thompson does to them."
Yeah.
And he's walking around with a water bottle, just walking around. He goes next to the dude that's sleeping. He looks at us, and we're all just like laughing, like, look. Mr. Thompson's like, "Okay," and then he takes his water bottle and just pours it on top of his head. No, he doesn't pour it on top of his head. His shirt was coming up a little bit, and he poured it down his shirt. That's what it was. And the kid wakes up, and he's like, "Oh man, he's just doing this." Like, "Oh man, this sucks." And then he says, "See, I told you not to fall asleep in my class." Like a month goes by, another kid falls asleep in the class. Same things, fucking stupid water bottle. And he starts pouring it on top of the dude's head. The dude wakes up like mad. He wakes up and he's like, "Man, I wasn't even awake, man." He's still like so asleep. He says, "I wasn't even awake." Mr. Thompson's like, "I know you weren't." And then the kid slaps the water bottle out of his hand. So Mr. Thompson's like, come here, man. And he grabs him and he puts him in this fucking like full Nelson and like drags him outside. And I don't know what happened to him. He came back and it was just, and he's elbowed me in the sternum. He elbowed me in the sternum one time because I said fuck in class.
That's funny.
Because they had to separate me and my friend because we were always fucking around. So he sat across the classroom from me. And then this kid, he's like, "Hey, Rodriguez." And I look over at him, and then he's like, "You're gay." And then, and I was about to say like, "Fuck no," but as soon as I said the word "fuck," everybody went quiet, like somehow. And all you heard in the class was like, "Fuck." And then the teacher's like standing next to my friend across the classroom, and then my friend was like. He's looking at him like, "That was that boy Rodriguez." He's like telling him that he's my fucking friend, and he's snitching on me. He's like, "That's that boy Rodriguez," and he's just laughing because he knows that he's gonna fuck with me. He's like, "Come here, Rodriguez," and then I get up and I walk over there. He's like, he gets like behind me, and he's like, "Go outside," or no, he gets in front of me. He's like, "Go outside." As I'm walking out the door, he fucking just boom elbows me right in the fucking like chest. And I'm like,
oh man.
He's like, stand out here, and I'm standing outside the classroom, like, oh, damn, like, what the fuck's gonna happen to me? A kid walks by in the hallway. And he's like, huh. He knows, he sees Mr. Thompson's class. He's like, Mr. Thompson's gonna fuck you up, man. And then he keeps walking, but it ended up being he just kind of like went to my sister's class and was like told her what I did, and then he's like, so what should I do with you, man? And he's like, man, do whatever you think I deserve. And he's like, I like that, taking it like a man. I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, all right, come back to the class. So he made me sweep the class for the rest of the period. I was just, everybody's like learning and talking, and I'm just sitting there sweeping.
That would suck.
Yeah. Man. But just my friend just looking up at him like, that's that boy Rod. That's that boy Rodriguez. Oh, dude. High school was a trip. Even here in America, it was a trip, dude.
I bet.
Yeah.
In, what was it, 6th grade, there was this girl that went missing, but me and my friend didn't like her. She was stupid. I think it turned out to be like fake or something like that. But everyone was all upset that she was missing and they couldn't find her. And so my friend and I, we snuck behind my teacher's desk and we found her camera. And we were just sitting behind her desk taking pictures of each other, laughing and just kind of BSing with each other. And then she like all of a sudden like appears behind one of us. I can't remember. And then she's like, go to the principal's office. We're like, oh, fuck. Walk to the principal's office. Man, it was funny. Whew. All right.
I think our childhood, I mean, mine in particular was very, I don't know, man. I would like climb trees to get fruit from the trees and stuff like that. Like,
goddamn Jungle Book, Columbia, man.
Yeah, dude. I remember this guy walked by. I was in front of my school. I was taking guitar lessons, and the guitar lessons were in school, but it was like 2 hours after school let out.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I would like walk back home because I used to walk to school, and it was like a 2-mile walk. It was pretty, it wasn't just like around the corner. It was like, but I liked it. I liked walking home, but I would walk home, get my guitar, and then walk back to school. And because I didn't want to bring the guitar to school. And I was sitting there just waiting for the instructor to get there outside the school, and this guy walks by and he's like, hey man, you got some spare change? I haven't had lunch today. And I really didn't have any. I was like, nah, dude, sorry. If it makes you feel any better, I haven't eaten either. And he's like, well, they have a mango tree right there. You got some pretty good ones. I'm probably going to climb that, and that'll be my lunch. And I was like, man, you know what? You're right. So I climbed it with him, and then we started filling out my backpack with mangoes.
That's awesome.
And stuff like that. And that's what I had for lunch was fruit.
Damn.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That'd be fun.
Yep.
Well,
yeah. So,
do you have any more stories?
Yeah, I have a more, but I could sit here all day and talk about them.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You got stuff to do. So
yeah,
let's end it right here. I think this would be a good ending point.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for listening, Hayden. You're the best.
I don't even think he's here anymore.
No, he's not.
Okay.
All right.
Peace balls and ball sacks, or peace love and ball sacks.
Peace love and ball sacks is what Hayden or Holston says.
The Middle East.
All right. Later.
Later.